But less than a year earlier, Victoria and Oscar's life together is just beginning. They're close friends with a clear attraction.
Even though both of them had another significant other, they still had this connection, and it just kept calling them back to one another.
You say you want to control it, but it is so darn hard when you're actually in each other's presence, smelling each other's pheromones, and oh yes, doing sexy dances together. I'm sure at a certain point, it would have been almost impossible for the two of them to keep their hands off each other.
The first time she told me about Oscar, she just literally, her eyes lit up, and she was so happy when she would talk about him.
Over time, Oscar becomes the dance partner her boyfriend refuses to be. Soon, Oscar finds himself single again.
I think that was a good rehearsal for today.
Yes, it was. It was.
What's up, Panic Fam? I'm Hannah. And if it's 2 a.m., the lights are off and the popcorn has gone cold, you know, it's Panic TV time. Welcome. If you survived this, and this, congratulations, all right? Congratulations. But your luck runs out here.
Once upon a time, Victoria Lee and Oscar Cruz danced their way into each other's hearts.
Vicky and Oscar were partners in life. He just loved her and wanted her to be the one.
There was nothing that was going to come between these two. They were very perfect for each other. True love.
But all too soon, the beat stops when their love turns tragic.
You could hear gunshots and the distinctive thud of someone falling.
I was in shock. It doesn't seem real.
I said, no way. I was just devastated.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. "25-year-old Victoria Lee can feel the butterflies in her stomach just looking at her fiancé, 34-year-old Oscar Cruz. She can't believe they're about to say, I do."
She was so happy, and I talked to him on the phone several times, and he was so tickled with her, and I could just tell that this was the real deal.
Oscar and Victoria were the perfect match. They were meant to be together.
Reconnecting in the small town of Ewing, Nebraska, after 3 years apart, theirs is a love built over a long friendship and a shared passion for dancing.
Yes, I do.
Oscar and Victoria really bonded on a dance floor with a Latin dance.
Oscar and Victoria did it right. They were friends for a long time before they became lovers or before they got romantically involved. And this is the order of events, because when you develop that emotional intimacy first, then that becomes the glue that helps you stay together for the long term.
Yes, I do.
They know they are true soulmates.
They just really went from friendship to talking about marriage because they both had the same goals and desires for life.
Victoria is a hard worker who dreams of a future in politics.
She set the bar high. She knew she could do it, and she had the potential to do it. She's very, very respected in town. Everybody knew her name. Everybody knew what she was about.
Oscar is a sweet farm boy who always sees the positive in life.
He had a very kind heart. He was very loving. He loved to go work out on the farm and work with some of the younger animals. Vicky thought that was really awesome, that he had that kind of heart and that he was that kind of person.
And by the authority vested in me by the state of Nebraska, I do hereby declare that you are husband and wife, and you may kiss your bride.
These two are the perfect match. They love the rural life, farming, public service. They're giving people. It's a match made in heaven.
But only 6 weeks after their wedding, a terrifying call comes into the Antelope County Dispatch just after midnight.
911. There's a man outside my house. Please come quick.
A woman was on the line saying that there was a man on the property and that she was afraid that the man was carrying a gun.
Please hurry. Please.
And then the call was disconnected.
911.
Fortunately, the woman is able to call back.
During the second 911 call, you could hear gunshots in the background.
You can hear a woman screaming, "No, please don't. What are you doing?" You hear a man's voice, and you can hear him say, "Die, bitch, die," and a distinctive thud of someone falling.
Stop it! No!
Deputies race to the address provided by the 911 dispatcher.
It actually was an open field. It's then that they realized there was a cell tower there. That 911 call pinged off that particular tower, and that's why dispatch sent them to that area.
Without an exact address, authorities can't help the 911 caller. She's in mortal danger, and deputies don't even know how to find her. "25 years earlier, Victoria Lee is born in Kearney, Nebraska. She's the eldest of 3 children, raised by grounded, loving parents.
Vicki was kind of a tomboy growing up. She had Barbie dolls, and she's like, what am I supposed to do with these?
Vicki had a tremendous curiosity from very early. She was mechanically inclined, and whatever Dad was doing, she wanted to help. It did not matter.
As a young girl, her family moves to Iowa. There she develops a passion for politics, leaving no time for boys.
She said, Dad, I'm interested in hanging around with the guys, but I don't want to date.
Victoria wanted to wait and enjoy her life, and she had lots of ambitions. She wasn't about to run around being boy crazy as a teenager. She was a smart girl who had other things going on in her life.
The ambitious teen enrolls in college in nearby Omaha and majors in political science. She also shocks everyone by running for city council in her hometown and winning.
She was 18 when she was elected, and she was 18 when she was sworn in, and then she was 19 when she took office. It was a proud moment for us.
It was kind of cool. She was like the youngest one to ever do that.
Victoria has a full plate between the city council, going to school, and working to pay for classes. To help with the stress, she takes up ballroom and Latin dancing.
You could see it in her eyes. You could see it in the way she smiled. Vicki lit up when she got on the dance floor.
She loved to dance, and she was good at it. She spent a lot of her time doing that.
When people go out on the dance floor, they do leave their troubles behind. They get into their body, they're listening to the music. It should be a time where it is thoughtless. They're not full of life stress. That's one of the reasons that people dance, is that you can get the thoughts out of your mind. And dancing is something that also lifts the spirits and the moods. It would have made her feel very, very happy.
One night out, she meets a young man who captures her attention. They start to date.
The very first part of their relationship, she flat out would deny that she's like, he's not my boyfriend, he's not my boyfriend. Over time, she kind of got used to having a relationship with him, so then she's like, yeah, he's my boyfriend.
In early 2011, they moved 3 hours away to Ewing together. But Victoria knows he's not the one and still hopes to find true love with the right person. 𝐀𝐼𝐥𝐲 is born into a loving family in Hidalgo, Mexico.
Oscar grew up on a farm. He really liked being outdoors, liked fixing things and being handy. Oscar was quiet. I think he kept to himself. He was a hard worker.
He loved to take care of the animals. He was so gentle. He showed a nurturing side.
But Oscar's parents worry about the safety of their children.
He lived in a shady neighborhood, and his family sent the two boys to Omaha.
And his family really kind of urged him to come up here for a better life, a fresh start.
No te preocupes, papá. Mira, te voy a mandar un dinero, ¿ok? Voy a trabajar duro.
Oscar loves his family, but knows moving to Nebraska is the right thing to do.
It's a tragic thing when children and parents become separated, but sometimes a necessary thing the families believe for their survival. I'm sure it was really hard for Oscar to leave his family who he loved so much, but he had the sense that it was for the greater good.
Oscar eventually takes a job working on a farm in Ewing. He works hard to create the life his parents hoped he would have.
He thoroughly enjoyed that. And one day he dreamt of maybe having his own farm. He felt that was where his real love was at.
Oscar was working hard to pay the bills, and at night he loved to go dancing.
One night at the club, he's shocked to run into an old dancing friend from his days in Omaha, Victoria Lee.
It's been a long time.
She's also living in Ewing.
Good.
This is my girlfriend, Isabel.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
My God, you look great.
Thank
Have
you.
you danced tonight?
No, I haven't found a partner yet.
Wow. We used to dance together all the time. Is it all right if we get one dance?
Go right ahead.
There is a clear and potent attraction between the reunited acquaintances.
She said it was like magic when those two danced together. She had the opportunity to sit one out and watch him dance with another girl. And she told me that she was so jealous. And she said, Dad, that's when I really realized I really had a thing for him.
She was telling me about how she met Oscar, how he had a good heart, he was a great guy.
It's hard for them both to resist the unmistakable connection, but they have to.
She was in a relationship, and Oscar had a girlfriend.
All right, well, it was a pleasure dancing with you.
This can be really, really difficult because, you know, love knows no boundaries. So here they are, bedazzled with each other, but really they can't be together. That in itself can make the love and passion grow.
But 10 months later, romance is the last thing on anyone's mind. Deputies, unable to pinpoint the location of a woman's panicked 911 call about a man with a gun, receive word of another emergency nearby.
And it's a man reporting a fire not too far from that locality.
In that moment, officers wondered if the two calls could be connected.
They head to the fire call. Maybe it's the home they've been looking for. When deputies arrive, they find the home fully engulfed in flames.
At that point, officers wondered if the woman who had made the 911 call could be trapped.
Inside, a newlywed couple's dreams of a beautiful life together could be turning to ash.
Ugh, I swear my neighbors think I'm probably getting murdered right now.
Antelope County Sheriff's deputies have just arrived on the scene of a raging fire. that could be connected to a harrowing 911 call about a home invasion.
It's such a small town that the likelihood that those two calls were not related were pretty slim.
While fire crews try to douse the flames, deputies notice a panicked man outside the home.
My roommates are still inside.
The police wondered who this man was and how he was there on site so conveniently.
He frantically begged them to get inside because two of his roommates were trapped.
His name is Felix Reyes, and his roommates are the newlyweds, Victoria and Oscar Cruz. Could this be the place where the first 911 call came from? And was that female caller Victoria?
Police at the scene had to consider whether the female that made the 911 call actually was, whether she was still in the house or she had left the area.
Everyone on site is concerned about the fate of the couple. But less than a year earlier, Victoria and Oscar's life together is just beginning. They're close friends with a clear attraction.
Even though both of them had another significant other, they still had this connection, and it just kept calling them back to one another.
You say you want to control it, but it is so darn hard when you're actually in each other's presence, smelling each other's pheromones, and oh yes, doing sexy dances together. I'm sure at a certain point, it would have been almost impossible for the two of them to keep their hands off each other.
The first time she told me about Oscar, she just literally, her eyes lit up, and she was so happy when she would talk about him.
Over time, Oscar becomes the dance partner her boyfriend refuses to be. Soon, Oscar finds himself single again.
I think that was a good rehearsal for today.
Yes, it was. It was.
He was hoping that his relationship with Victoria could turn into something more serious.
See you later.
And when Victoria breaks things off with her boyfriend, she can't wait to let Oscar know how she feels.
In July of 2012, Matt and Vicky kind of split off. They had agreed that they needed to go separate ways.
She told me that she was thinking about dropping the hint to Oscar that she was available and she kind of wanted to go out with him. One thing led to another and they were out on a date.
Does that make this our first date?
Yeah, it does.
After all that waiting, all that wondering, all that fantasizing, I'm sure, finally both of them were single at the same time and they could get ready for their first real-world date. How exciting is that?
And when they finally share their first kiss, it's something right out of a movie.
They had a long French fry and Oscar had put it in his mouth and Vicky had leaned over the table and said, "Come here." And they started kissing real big right there in the restaurant.
Victoria said that her first kiss with Oscar was like electricity. She liked it a lot.
That relationship bloomed really quickly, and they became inseparable.
She could not stand to be apart from him, and I don't think he wanted to be apart from her either.
She said, "Dad, I never thought I would meet anyone where I feel like I do with Oscar. I really think this could be the guy."
Vicky was more alive when she knew Oscar. She smiled all the time. She loved him so much.
When two people bring out the best in each other, that's a sign that this is true love. I mean, you want your relationship to make you better than you are.
And her family just adores Oscar. He fits right in.
And that was so neat to me that she had found somebody like Oscar, true love. Anybody that could make my little girl happy, hey.
Though she's busy with work and classes during the week, Victoria spends weekends with Oscar, learning about farm life.
All she wanted to talk about when she was with me or over the phone was the relationship and how they were getting along and how it was progressing and how much the two were in love.
Oscar is having an amazing effect on Victoria.
She didn't believe in marriage and children until she got with Oscar, and she saw that he could be kind and gentle, and this was the man that she felt would be a good father to children, and she just wanted to be with him.
And over the next few months, it just kind of progressed and progressed. He wanted to put a ring on her finger because he just loved her and wanted her to be the one.
In August, Oscar finally makes things official.
They were sitting on the couch in his house, and it was just really casual.
Will you marry me?
What did you just say?
Will you marry me?
Of course I'll marry you.
I think this quick casual engagement shows us that this couple actually was in love. I always get concerned when couples do these grand romantic gestures, and it's like, if you gotta do that, maybe it's not so. But these two are casual. They made a mutual decision that this is what they both wanted, and that's more like real love.
They were very excited to be getting married. She said, he's my soulmate, he's my future.
Has that hopeful future now come to a gruesome end? Firefighters finally put out the roaring flames.
Everything had burned down. Police went inside, and that's when they discovered 2 bodies burned beyond recognition.
Even though the deputies on scene felt certain that it was Oscar and Victoria Cruz, they had to send the bodies off to the coroner for proper identification.
Investigators look at the facts. They have a 911 call from a terrified woman with the sound of gunshots and a man's threatening voice in the background. Just minutes later, another 911 call in the same area for a house fire with 2 dead bodies inside. They have to be connected.
They knew something hideous had happened inside that home. They simply didn't know who committed the crime.
The couple's roommate, Felix Reyes, is still hanging around the crime scene. It's time to find out what he knows. Deputies find the bodies of a man and woman inside a burned-down home in Ewing, Nebraska. Investigators are almost certain they are newlyweds Victoria and Oscar Cruz. They have to inform the victims' families.
I was just devastated. It hit me, my daughter's gone. And not only that, but Oscar's gone. And so senseless, so senseless.
It doesn't seem real that they're really gone. I keep thinking someday she's just gonna walk through the front door and she's fine. I don't know.
In Mexico, Oscar's family also receives the heartbreaking news.
These families dealt with a loss that is unimaginable. Parents lost children, brothers and sisters lost a brother and a sister. This was a young couple on the brink of a great, successful life, and to have it be ripped away in such a way, you know, hurts everybody for a long time.
Investigators don't believe this was an accidental fire.
On the 911 call, a man can be heard saying, "Burn in hell." And that led police to believe that the fire had been deliberately set by the same man who entered the house with a gun.
With 2 dead bodies and a possible arson, authorities treat the scene as a homicide. They look closely at the couple's roommate, Felix Reyes, the only one to escape from the fire.
For someone to be at a scene and know so much about it, there's circumstances where they could stay to try to throw the police investigation off, to make them think they weren't the person involved, they're just the good person there to try to help the police.
All right, why don't you go ahead and tell me what happened from the beginning.
I woke up because I heard some crackling.
Felix told authorities that he went to bed early that evening and then was awoken by a noise, a banging door or footsteps. Then he went back to sleep. And a little bit later, he opened the door because he thought he heard crackling sounds.
He couldn't escape out of his room, and he went out of his bedroom window. He then ran to his landlord's residence and called 911 from there.
Felix was generally upset. He was freaking out and seemed confused.
You didn't see anybody else get out of the house?
Although Felix doesn't seem guilty to investigators, they still have more questions for him.
Police keep suspects and witnesses as long as they can at that circumstance. They want to find out if they know more.
Investigators need information about how the deceased couple met such a tragic end. One that just 4 months earlier seems impossible for this lively pair. They immediately start planning their upcoming wedding.
It's okay. You want to know what my idea is of a perfect wedding? What? All right, in Mexico, where I'm from, there's a beautiful church. It's up on a hill. It's something like out of a movie.
Oscar talked about wanting to get married in a church back in his village. And he talked about how the bride and groom served the guests and what a beautiful church he had.
Vicky wanted to have a wedding that fit with his religion and his beliefs and his culture.
Beautiful, the colors, everywhere there's flowers.
It was gonna be a long white dress, and she had these certain kind of sleeves that she wanted on it, and it wasn't something you could just go in the store and buy.
What do you think about that?
I think it sounds perfect.
Victoria really loves the planning process, but while she's working her way through college, it's just hard to find the time. She's also not sure they can afford the wedding of their dreams.
Victoria worked as an office assistant, and Oscar worked on the dairy farm, and that's how they paid the bills.
Most of Victoria's income goes to paying for school, and Oscar's using part of his to support his family back in Mexico. Money is tight, but they really want to make their situation work so they can say I do sooner rather than later.
What's the matter? You look sad and flustered.
I just don't see how we're ever going to be able to afford the wedding we want.
All new couples have a lot of financial stress, and probably the biggest one is trying to plan a dream wedding with a meager budget. So this kind of stress can cause a lot of problems for a young couple, or it can bring them closer together.
All that matters is that we're going to be together as husband and wife. All right?
Vicky and Oscar really loved each other. They wanted to be together. They knew that. They wanted to be married. And they didn't know when they were going to be able to have the wedding in Mexico. And they just wanted to be able to say, you know what, this is my husband, this is my wife.
Oscar and Victoria decided, since, hey, we love each other, let's elope, and got married at the local courthouse. Victoria and Oscar kept the wedding a secret. No fancy clothes, no fancy dress, just the two of them getting married, finally getting to be together and start their lives as man and wife.
And by the authority vested in me by the state of Nebraska, I do hereby declare that you are husband and wife.
They'll still have the big ceremony in Mexico with all their family once they have the money.
Oscar and Victoria thought it was one of the most romantic times of their lives.
Congratulations.
They are thrilled to finally be starting their lives together. But now it seems they've been torn apart forever. Deputies hope the couple's roommate might be able to give them more clues as to what happened.
Felix was obviously genuinely concerned. He lived with these people. He loved these people. The way he responded to police led them to believe that he wasn't involved, that actually he witnessed this. He might hold vital information as to who a suspect could be.
So if he didn't do it, who did?
In a case of 2 victims in a situation like this, you never know if it's another shooter involved or if it's a murder-suicide. You never know what happens behind closed doors.
There's a man outside my house.
Was Oscar the man with the gun that Victoria was worried about when she called 911?
Police were looking at every angle. All they knew was that 2 people were dead and someone had to fire the gun.
Less than 2 months after they marry, Oscar and Victoria Cruz are found dead. Could it have been the result of a murder-suicide or the work of a cold-blooded killer?
In this situation, everything's out on the table. You have 2 dead bodies, you have a gun that was used, a 911 call indicating that there was a fire. Police are looking at every angle.
Investigators carefully examine the burnt home.
They notice the front door has the glass knocked out of it, as in it was knocked out and reached in to unlock the door to gain entry into the residence.
In the bedroom, investigators find no signs of the gun that was fired during the 911 call.
There was no weapon found by the bodies, therefore it could not have been a murder-suicide. As police gathered the evidence, it became clear to them that someone wanted these people dead.
Who could have possibly wanted to kill these sweet newlyweds? Only 6 weeks earlier, Oscar and Victoria are sharing their good news with their loved ones.
Hey! We got married! Oh my gosh!
I was elated they got married. I was disappointed I wasn't there, but I was just tickled they'd gotten done. It's what they wanted.
Susan! Come here, come here.
Her and Oscar were smiling and blushing like little kids, and they were so happy. She just knew it was the right thing to do. We were really happy for them.
She called me and she's like, you wouldn't believe it. Guess what? I'm an old married lady. I'm just like, I'm very happy for you guys. You guys make a cute couple. You're gonna make a wonderful life out together.
I was happy for her. He was gonna have a brother-in-law. It's cool that Oscar was part of our family now.
After their brief honeymoon, Victoria moves in with Oscar and his roommate Felix in a company-owned home at the farm.
She said, Dad, I feel like I'm absolutely at home here.
But this is all temporary. In the next few weeks, Oscar and Victoria plan to move back to Omaha before gearing up for their next big adventure.
Oscar was going to manage a fast food restaurant chain, and Victoria needed to finish the 1 class up for college.
To Oscar and Victoria, may grace and happiness be with you all of your days.
Coincidentally, Oscar's home is less than 3 miles away from Victoria's ex-boyfriend, Matt Henriksen. And happy news travels fast.
A week later, when the county newspaper came out, they list marriage licenses. And whose names are in the paper? Oscar and Victoria.
Matt was very upset about the marriage. When he found out about it, he was filled with jealousy and being mad because he didn't have Vicky anymore. He lost her.
He makes harassing phone calls to Victoria and leaves her threatening voicemails.
Seriously?
He threatened that he was going to be Oscar's face in, so that way he would have to eat through a straw for the rest of his life.
He would say, I'm done with you, you're worthless, you're a piece of trash, you're horrible.
It must have been so troubling for these newlyweds to have someone that Victoria thought she knew and trusted, Matt, turn on them with these harassing phone calls. There was this bubbling rage coming from him. I'm sure this would have been concerning.
She wanted to protect herself and Oscar, so she recorded some conversations that she had with Matt, because Matt would not stop calling her. He just wouldn't leave her alone.
She was getting her own evidence so that she could get a restraining order.
All of the threats only give Victoria and Oscar motivation to move away sooner. On December 7th, Victoria is in Missouri Valley with her family, excited to drive back to Ewing that night to be with Oscar.
She was dancing, and my honey bunny loves me. And she was just so happy.
But Matt won't stop calling her.
Leave me alone.
Victoria told Matt that she had planned on staying in Omaha for the weekend. In reality, she did not want Matt to bother them.
Before she leaves, Victoria makes a bold move and officially changes her last name on her social media profile.
She was very excited about changing her name online because she finally had the love of her life. She had his last name. She was proud of that. She was Vicky Cruz. She loved it.
When that was discovered by Matt, that created quite a problem with him.
He was furious and called Victoria back and started yelling at Victoria about, why did you change your name? Why are you married to him?
Matt has a anxious attachment disorder with anger tendencies. And when he's feeling abandoned, he can go into a rage.
Victoria refuses to let Matt ruin her happy mood. Instead, she focuses her energy on getting home. Back in Ewing, she happily reunites with Oscar. Hours later, she and Oscar are murdered. Deputies listen to every word of the 911 call, and that's when they hear it.
On that second 911 call, they realized this woman was shouting someone's name.
Victoria may have just led police to her killer.
If you could slap one character for their dumb decisions, who would it be? Huh? Go on. Vent in the comments. I can't wait to read.
Investigators listen to the 911 call Victoria Cruz made just before she and her husband Oscar were murdered.
You can hear her screaming, stop it, Matt, what are you doing?
One of the deputies on scene knew that Victoria had dated Matt Hendrickson.
The deputy knew that the relationship had been rocky and troubled.
Deputies race to Matt's house. His father meets them and says Matt is in the backyard, burning his clothes.
He's out at a burn barrel, actually burning the clothes he was just wearing. The father indicates that he's missing a handgun and also an AK-47. Not long after that, Matt actually comes into view to the deputies, brandishing a weapon, urging the police to shoot him.
Listen to me, this is not how you want it to end. Get on the ground and drop the gun.
The deputies tell him to drop the weapon. Matt refuses.
At that time, Matt's father rushes his son. And actually gets the weapon from Matt. The police converge on Matt and take him into custody.
Matt's father tells investigators that before they arrived, his son confessed to the murders.
He confesses to his dad that he just killed Oscar and Victoria and that they can't pin anything on him because he's burned everything. His clothes, the bodies.
Inside a building next to Matt's house, investigators discover key evidence.
A jacket belonging to Matt, which had blood on it. In addition, the AK-47 was also there. It had blood on it and also brain matter. Once DNA testing is concluded, it was proven that the blood on the jacket, the brain matter, and the blood that was on the AK-47 belonged to Victoria.
Deputies arrest Matt Henriksen and charge him with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He refuses to repeat his confession to investigators.
I was in shock. I didn't think Matt was capable of doing something like that.
Total anger toward Matt, total outrage, and I wanted to see justice done in the worst way.
At trial, prosecutors lay out what they believe happened the night of the murder.
When Victoria changed her name on social media, that made her marriage very, very public. That made it real.
It's a perfectly normal thing for a newlywed to do.
Right.
But for an emotionally disturbed man like Matt, it's the breaking point.
Around 11, Matt drives to the house, sees Victoria's car next to Oscar's, and is so enraged that he rams Oscar's car, parks his vehicle, grabs the AK-47.
He tries to open the door, seeing it's locked, takes the AK-47 and punches a hole through the front door glass. He reaches through, unlocks the door, and lets himself into the residence.
Be honest. Did you watch the last scene through your fingers? Comment yes or no.
He walks back toward the bedroom, tries to open the door and can't because something is blocking it. Matt shoots through the bedroom door twice.
He pushes the door open. He looks down and confirms it's Oscar lying in a pool of blood. To make sure he's dead, shoots him a 3rd time. She's screaming for her life, saying, "Matt, Matt, Matt, stop, Matt." And he starts to beat her with the AK-47. Matt continues to beat her until she's dead.
He hit her so hard that he bent the gun and shattered her skull.
He then lights the place on fire and leaves the scene as quickly as he can.
Lab tests confirmed their theory.
It was determined that the gun, the AK-47, was actually used to shoot Oscar and then used to beat Victoria in the head until she died of blunt force trauma.
Matt's lawyers concede that he committed the crimes, but want a reduced charge of manslaughter because they say it was a crime of passion. The jury doesn't buy it. They find Matt Henriksen guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. He's sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms.
I don't think he felt remorse for killing them. I think his only remorse was that he got caught and that he embarrassed his family.
The way I look at it is that they got to die together so they didn't have to feel that heartbreak of losing one or the other.
I want people to remember Oscar was a kind and loving man. I know Victoria and Oscar are in heaven, and I know that they're happy where they are.
Her father is at peace, knowing Victoria rediscovered her faith before her death.
She said, "Dad, I want you to know something. Oscar and I have picked up the Bible, and we have started reading it together. And I now believe," and that brought me such relief. That really did as a parent.
Victoria and Oscar lost their lives far too young. But their good hearts and sweet souls will never be forgotten.
I miss her smile. I miss the way that she would sing songs and hug me and say, "I love you, Mom." Even though she's grown up, she still called me Mommy sometimes. I miss that.
I miss having that person there that I can talk to about anything. There are some people that are not going to be able to make it to my wedding, and Vicky's one of them. I want her picture in the back to be able to say, "Hey, you know what? She's still here."
We think about her all the time. We all still feel hollow. We all feel like we're missing a big part of our family, a big part of our lives.